Good morning, everyone. Let's talk about how fossils are formed. Okay, so you see my screen up here. It does say 8th grade science, but in 8th grade, some 8th graders learn about fossils again. So let's ignore that and let's look at how fossils are formed. So right here it says footprints are left in the mud. Now, if footprints are left in the mud, we know that's a trace fossil. That's a trace fossil. Okay, if that solidifies and hardens over millions of years, that becomes a trace fossil. But let's go back to it. The dinosaur collapses and dies. Flesh rots away. So flesh are the soft parts. So the soft parts are going to rot away, but the bones remain. The bones remain. The water level rises, sediment buries the bones, and footprints, sediment meaning soil, sand, silt, dirt, rocks, like tiny rocks, all kinds of different sediment buries the bones and footprints. A thick sequence of sediments accumulates over the bones. Gradually, the bones fossilize. Gradually, and when I say gradually, I mean a million years, 10 million years, 100 million years. This takes a very long time to fossilize. The bed then contains dinosaur bones, and then erosion exposes the layer of strata containing the bones and footprints. Erosion, we learned about erosion and weathering. Erosion is where sediment or soil moves. Okay, remember erosion means moves, weathering is breaking down. So the sediment and soil is moving, therefore exposing the bones and footprints. Now, a bone fossil, if you think of a bone fossil, that's going to be a body fossil. If you think of a footprint, that's going to be a trace fossil. If you think of coprolite, which is dinosaur poop, that is a trace fossil. Okay, and let's look at how are trace fossils like dinosaur footprints preserved. Okay, so you see the track is made here, the dinosaur track. The mud hardens because the sun is hitting it, the sun is baking it. Sediment, so remember soil, silt, dirt, all deposited or brought down. Rock layers form. The print is exposed by erosion after millions of years. Let's look at the fossil categories. So first we have a trace fossil. A trace fossil is any indirect evidence left by an organism, such as footprints, burrows, fossilized feces, remember coprolite, and are all trace fossils. Trace fossils tell us that the animal or organism has been there. It was there at one point in time. That's a trace fossil. It's not the actual organism. Then you have a mold or a cast. A mold is an impression of an organism. So think of someone or something that's concave that's been pressed down, an impression. Okay, that's an impression fossil. A trace fossil can also be an impression fossil. A cast is a mold filled up with sediment. So a cast, think of a cast as 3D. Okay, so it's been filled up with sediment. Maybe it's even been filled up with minerals, and that makes a cast. So a cast would be a 3D kind of fossil. Replacement, a replacement fossil. The original material of an organism is replaced with mineral crystals that can leave detailed replicas of hard or soft parts. Petrified, or permineralization. You learned about this in a previous video. Petrified, think of petrified wood. Okay, empty pore spaces are filled in by minerals such as petrified wood. Okay, so the wood has been mineralized. And then the last one, this one, amber, this is actually a preserved fossil. A preserved tree sap traps an entire organism. The sap hardens into amber and preserves the trapped organism. So if an organism is trapped in amber, tar, mud, ice, that's a preserved fossil. And then we have original material, mummification, freezing, preserves original organisms. Also going to be a preserved fossil. But remember, no, it's not on here, is a bone is a body fossil. Okay, I will talk to you soon.